How's it going, Guardians? Shifty here, and today I'm back with another Legend Lost Sector guide. In this one, I'm going to be covering the Metamorphosis Lost Sector in the Throne World. Now overall for this season, this Lost Sector is one of the most straightforward and easiest to farm. Anyway, for today's Lost Sector, we do have Overload and Unstoppable Champions. We have Arc Burn, which is going to increase outgoing and incoming arc damage by 50%, and there are going to be arc and solar shields. Now that we have the Lost Sector details covered, I am going to go over my loadout, but before I do that, if you end up enjoying today's video, make sure to hit that like button, and if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Alright, now let's get into my loadout. I'm only going to show you the key pieces for my loadout on each class. So for my Warlock, I'm using the Nova Bomb Cataclysm Super alongside the Vortex Grenade. Then for my weapons, I have the Peace of Mind Pulse Rifle for Unstoppable Champions. Then I have the Sweet Sorrow Auto Rifle, which is arc, and this is going to be for Overload Champions, and because it's arc, it's going to get that 50% arc burn damage boost. Then in my heavy slot for this run, I have a Gjallarhorn in my heavy slot. For my exotic armor choice, I have Controverse Hold. Now as for my armor mods, they're going to be similar on all three classes, so I'm just going to show them to you once on my Warlock. If you need to see any of them in more detail, just pause the video. Alright, and that is it for my loadout on my Warlock. Now I'm going to show you any key differences to my Titan and Hunter loadouts as well, because I will be including a run on all three classes in this video. Then on my Titan, I'm running the Sentinel Shield Super alongside the Vortex Grenade, and for my weapons here, I have the Peace of Mind and the Sweet Sorrow still, but I'm using the Ascendancy rocket launcher rather than Gjallarhorn. For my exotic armor piece, I have Heart of Inmost Light. As for the important pieces to my Hunter run, I do have the Mobius Quiver Super, and I'm using that alongside the Vortex Grenade. For my weapons, I'm using the same Pulse Rifle and Auto Rifle, however, I am using the Parasite Grenade Launcher in my heavy slot. As for my exotic armor, I have Orpheus Rig. Now that I've covered my loadouts, I do want to mention that there will be timestamps if you want to skip to a particular run. Now, let's get into it. Alright, so here we're going to be starting with my Warlock. I do plan to show you a full run on all three classes just in case you want to see that, but I am going to use an Overload Grenade right here on this first Overload Champion. You could of course use your Auto Rifle on it if you don't have Overload Grenade equipped, or if you're not using a Void subclass. You do have to be careful because more enemies are going to end up spawning. I do have my Child of the Old Gods here. I'm going to send off to the left and look for ads that just spawn pushing the right. Next up, I do want to be careful because there's going to be a sniper right over here. We also have this Chieftain. I'm going to go ahead and Gjallarhorn that Chieftain and look for this Raider here. That should be it for the enemies on the right. Now I'm going to go for this Overload on the left. See, I stunned it with my Auto Rifle, but then I continued the stun with my Overload Void Grenade. If you don't use them, I do highly recommend using Overload Void Grenades for Overload Champions. Next up, we have to take out these crystals to de-shield that knight back there. There's going to be a few scorned enemies, including snipers. You do want to be careful for those void snipers, as for some reason they tend to do a lot of damage, even on legend difficulty. And here we have that knight left. And I guess we had a sniper left as well. Now that the knight's down, the barrier goes down and we can move on to the next room. Here in this room, we are going to have another Overload Champion. I'm going to throw a grenade right on that. That'll stop other enemies from pushing as well. And since every class has access to Vortex Grenades now, it's always a great option. You obviously heard that I stunned an Unstoppable Champion there. We're going to kind of sit back here and wait for a second. I'm going to go ahead and stun it again. And this time I'll rocket it. That champion is almost down. Let me toss another grenade out there. If you see red on your radar behind you, that means there's a Screeb that spawned behind you. If you want to just be careful, you can always head back and kill it. Otherwise, you can try to ignore it. So here we're going to have another shielded knight protected by these crystals. I'll just destroy that one. I see one up there. They are kind of in random locations each time. And there's one more right behind the knight. Have to be careful here. That arc damage is boosted by 50%. And now that that knight's down, we can drop down into the boss room. What I like to do here is head off to the left, get everything to spawn, including the unstoppable champion. And I like to try to take that out as quickly as possible, trying to ignore the other enemies. I'm going to wait for that champion to round the corner, and I'm just going to finish it off real quick. Now I want to destroy the crystals. This is going to de-shield the boss. Looks like we have one more crystal here. Then I'm going to go ahead and super the boss with my Nova Bomb and rocket it once. You might have some more enemies spawning. If that happens, you can just kill them. Otherwise, you can head to the chest. And there we have it. That was a platinum completion of the Metamorphosis Lost Sector on a Warlock. Now I am going to show you a run on a Titan and a Hunter as well. Alright, so here we are on a Titan. Now the run won't be too much different from my Warlock run. I tossed an overload grenade on that first overload champion right away. That is primarily why I'm using a void subclass. I want to take that chieftain out as well. I want to be careful for all of these ravagers coming up as well. Now in this run I am using Ascendancy instead of Gjallarhorn just to show you Gjallarhorn isn't necessary, but it does make the run a little bit easier. Now unfortunately I didn't take out that corrupted chieftain with my first rocket. We do have another overload off to the left here. Of course, I decided to stun it with my auto rifle there instead. Just to show you it can be done, but the overload grenade is just really good for overload champions. We of course need to destroy the crystals. I'm going to take out the raiders. I have one crystal off to the left yet. And all that's left is the Arc Shielded Knight. Now we can move on to the next room. Again, we're going to have an overload champion to deal with right away. And we do have some screams that spawn behind us. I almost got killed by one of them. I want to maintain the stun on the overload champion, or I should say I want to prevent it from healing, so I'm going to continue with my auto rifle. And that champion is down. I am going to go ahead and stun this unstoppable while I deal with some of the other enemies that are pushing me, like these screams. If you see any red on your radar behind you, it means a scream probably spawned behind you, so you might want to check that out. Since I am low on heavy ammo, I didn't want to use any there, and I can finish the champion with Lucent Finisher to get some more. And it looks like the knight took out all of the Scorn enemies that it was fighting. We have to destroy 3 crystals like that again. And the knight is down. And now we can head into the boss room. Just like my Warlock run, I'm going to head off to the left until the enemies spawn. I'm going to be ready for the stun on the unstoppable, toss a grenade right away, and I'm going to go ahead and throw a couple rockets as well. Next up, I want to destroy the crystals so we can do some boss damage. So right off the bat, I'm going to toss a rocket. And then I'm going to super the boss. Hopefully we can take it out, but the crystals might come back up before we can, and they did. If that happens, you can just take the enemies out and deal with the crystals again. Once the crystals are down, finish the boss off, and you can head to the chest. And there we have it. That was a platinum run on a Titan. Now all I have left to show you is a run on a Hunter. Alright, final run, but this time I'm on a Hunter. And I'm going to be using the Parasite grenade launcher. So obviously it's not ideal to use it without trying to take advantage of the exotic perk. But I did want to take out that first Overlord champion as soon as I could. Do want to watch out for these Ravagers, of course. Take out some of these adds before I go for that next Overload. Chieftain down. Let's look for the sniper real quick. We're going to go ahead and stun this Overlord champion. Let's prevent it from healing, and I'm going to go for some heavy ammo with the finisher. Might as well take one of the crystals out as soon as I can. You do have to be careful. Those raiders will do a lot of damage, especially combined with damage from that knight. Finish off the crystals. 2 on the left. And time to go for the knight. Now, in this next room, we are going to have to deal with another Overlord champion pretty much right away. It's spawning right now, and we'll push around this corner. I'm going to toss an Overlord grenade and use a Parasite shot. I did have several stacks of Worm's Hunger there. You want to watch for any Screebs that may spawn behind you and ones that push from in front of you. Let's see how many stacks of Worm's Hunger I have. I have 11 stacks. So the Parasite launcher with 11 stacks easily was able to finish off that unstoppable champion after a stun. So what I'm going to do is build up some more stacks here before the boss fight, looking for Screebs. I knew some were spawning there. Should be one behind me as well. Gonna just kind of peek up here, see if I can see any crystals. There's one there, and where's the final one? I'm not quite sure. But I'm gonna toss a smoke. I want to try to save my grenade for the boss fight as well. And the final crystal is right there. Perfect. Take out this raider, and then all we should have left is the knight. Try to get it to come out here. And the knight is finished off. Now we're heading down into the boss room. I want to be ready for the unstoppable right away. I'm going to stun it, toss a grenade, and Parasite it. That should be enough to take it out. Now we can destroy the crystals for the boss. And once the crystals are down, I'm going to go ahead and use my Mobius Quiver, Shadow Shot, which easily takes it out. And now we can head for the chest. And there we have it. That is the Metamorphosis Legend Lost sector with a platinum rating on a hunter. Alright, so in this video I covered all 3 classes for this particular Legend Lost sector. I tried to show you a variety of heavy weapon options that you have in this one, and I hope that it helped you out. If it did, remember to like and subscribe. I just want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.